They told me for years there was no money in podcasting. Well, they were all wrong.
All right, let's move over to wrestling, and then we'll wrap up with comic books, and we'll go home. So, favorite wrestler of all time and favorite wrestler currently.
Oh man,
I know I hit the hard question. So on my podcast is the Kings of the Rings podcast, my wrestling podcast. We have this thing called the First Guest Game. So I pretty much just took most of those questions except the last one because you have to listen to the show to get it. But I asked the first question I always ask. Well, the first one I ask is what got you into wrestling? So I guess I should ask that one. What got you into wrestling? I can let you think about the first favorite wrestler of all time.
Oh, everybody was watching in high school, and then I said, fine, I'll join the club. That's how I started. Because I didn't grow up watching wrestling. I started when I was in 9th grade.
Yeah, I started in 7th grade. That was in 2008-ish, 2008, and in 2007.
I came in during the John Cena Edge feud.
Oh, 06.
06,
okay.
yeah.
05,
right around about 6 weeks before TLC. So really, really enjoyable feud and amazing. And I thoroughly enjoyed that feud. So yeah, that's how I got in. And then it just never left. And then now I'm more into the indie stuff.
Oh my God, man. I wish Evolve was still a thing, because Evolve would run shows at La Boom in Queens. It's like a nightclub, and they put on the greatest shows I've ever been to. Because they would bring in NXT guys. So we saw like Velveteen Dream, rest in peace, like Johnny Gargano, the Street Profits, Matt Riddle. No, but these are people who were in NXT at the time, would come into the show and work with the Evolve guys. Like Austin Theory was the champion there at the time.
AG was there. Josh Briggs was there.
Yeah, you know Evolve. Matt Riddle was there too. I saw Matt Riddle and Ricochet, Zack Sabre Jr. and Johnny Gargano and Jim and Joey Styles on the same show.
Evolve is crazy, and is Evolve in WWE's network? Is some of their content in there?
Evolve the Evolve content, like Evolve 68 or whatever, is all on the network. But Evolve as a company closed its doors while the talent just merged with WWE with NXT. And Eddie Kingston in Evolve was incredible. And I remember seeing him as like, this guy. I'm so happy he's in AEW. Like Orange Cassidy, I saw him in Evolve. Like so many people have gone through Evolve. It's incredible.
Yeah, no. Eddie Kingston in ICW is phenomenal. No holds bar, and they got signed. And obviously he's not around in that company anymore because you're signed to AEW. And good on Eddie, because Eddie's been doing everything. And he's one of those guys that really deserves it, and he deserves to finish off his career nicely in AEW.
Nice paycheck. He's both times he gets paid too. He's a New York legend. He's a New York independent scene legend. All right, so favorite wrestler of all time and currently.
Oh man, so it's sort of the same person. It's like it's not good. Like I love The Miz.
That's the right answer. All right, you should love The Miz. You should love The Miz. What do you mean? That's a great answer.
No. I feel bad that like my favorite wrestler of all time. I mean, John Cena obviously is sort of like one of the top, but he's like tied with The Miz. Like my favorite wrestler right now is The Miz, and I think like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is The Miz because that guy's great. It's Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, John Cena, and The Miz.
Ooh, okay.
Like, I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick, it's like The Miz of all time and Alexa Bliss if I had to pick two. So I just think Alexa Bliss is priceless.
She is great. She's always been great. I remember like when she got called up to the main roster and I was just like, really? And then she just burst onto the scene really quickly. And she became my favorite very fast.
She is the female Miz. Reason why I say this is that red carpet event, Alexa Bliss. Send Alexa Bliss to the gala. Alexa Bliss at the CMAs. Alexa Bliss at the VMAs. Alexa Bliss here. Alexa Bliss there. Alexa Bliss, we got this weird awards ceremony. You're on a plane. Monday Night Raw. No, you're at this event. Do you want a new dress, Alexa Bliss? To the event you go.
Yep.
Hair and makeup, we got you at the event. That's how they do it with her. She's been all over. I think in 2017 and 2018, she spent for the entire year 45 days at home for the entire year.
Oh, yeah. I 100% believe it. Definitely.
Because
1,000%.
she was doing all this press for WWE. She was in like so many. She was doing 2 or 3 press events, and she was on the road, and she almost every month only had 2 or 3 days at home, which is crazy. So she would go home. She would basically have enough time to change out her clothes, and then she'd be back out on the road. And it wasn't that she was wrestling. She was doing even less wrestling those years. And she was just doing all this press because she's perfect at it. It's insane. And the Miz is the same way. Look at Miz is on Dancing with the Stars. He is perfect for that.
Yeah. He is his character. I mean, he plays a great dick on TV. He plays a great heel. But from everyone I've ever heard, he's such a nice guy. He's such a good, genuine, nice person. And he's a phenomenal ambassador for the WWE. He's a team player. He's a company guy. And he makes that company look like $1 million because he does
Have you ever seen how he was responding to when they were in Iraq to a guy, soldier, and he said, "If you tell me who's your favorite wrestler," and then he said, "Oh, this guy over here, this is Curtis Axel," and he said, "Okay, who's your second favorite wrestler?" And then he kept going, and he said, "If you don't say my name, I'm gonna rip this thing up." And then the guy said to somebody else, and he just walked away for like 5 minutes. It's one of the funniest things, but that's what the Miz can do, where he does it so well. And even with I forget the other guy who was backstage, and he was going through, and then the guy said there was this kid. He said, "You're my least favorite wrestler," and the Miz just plays it off perfectly. And that guy is just phenomenal. Like, I would kill to interview the Miz. It would be such an amazing interview. And like his reality show that he did for 2 or 3 seasons,
Miz and Mrs. Yeah.
Oh, phenomenal. It was better than Total Divas. I mean, we had to not kid ourselves here. That show was amazing. And that promo on John Cena is one of the greatest promos on John Cena and Nikki Bella on WrestleMania.
Oh my God.
Because everything.
That build. John Cena house rule number 44. Like, it's the best. He's the best. Every word that the Miz said about that, saying, "You guys are more concerned about your YouTube channel. You're more concerned about Hollywood. I'm out here busting." And oh my God. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And the uncuts thing with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Talking smack.
Yeah.
I mean, I think from my understanding, I don't think that was scripted.
It was a shoot. It was a worked shoot. So like they've talked about this a lot. Like, he was really hot. He was really angry, and he did just explode. But him and Brian were gonna kind of be at worst because they've been feuding forever. That's part of their shtick. But it was a work that turned into a shoot, and it was just like, oh, damn. I remember watching. I was like, God damn.
And I mean, because I think the Miz spoke about that. He said, "I didn't know if I was going to lose my job after that."
Yeah.
And
no,
I was like,
push. You gotta push.
I mean, I don't know how much the Miz makes, but he has to be making at least $1 million.
A lot. He makes a lot. Like, base salary probably makes a lot. Base salary probably that's on $1 million. I don't know. But with all of his endorsements and the extra stuff he does, he has a good chunk of change. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, he's phenomenal. The stuff, him working with Johnny Impact, and then now Johnny Nitro
Johnny
back
Mundo,
again.
baby.
And you know what it is? It's a good deal in which that, Johnny Nitro or John Morrison at this point now, his name was missing me. I mean, he's making a lot of money too, because he's given up being a championship guy, and he can hang. When John Morrison can hang, and he's making a lot of money too. And it's smart that WWE brought him back, because he can do everything in that company too.
Yeah. Him and Miz work so well together.
I love WWE. I own their stock, and it served me very well. And
I thought about buying their stock like a year or two ago. I should have.
I got made fun of it, in which that I put out a post on Facebook. I said, "If you don't know what WWE is, then you're a moron, or you're an idiot." I said something to that effect. And a lot of people took that to be offensive, and they didn't understand what I was saying, where WWE is Disneyland. And that's what it's becoming. And it's going to be that in the next 3 to 4 years. And I think that they are going to be a $6 to $9 billion company in the next 10.
Well, let me ask you, is Vince McMahon, because if I don't know how much you follow the dirt sheets or internet marks and smarks, but they love to say Vince is out of touch. Is Vince out of touch? Has he lost it?
No, I think everybody else has.
Yeah, because and it's exactly what you said. You said it perfectly. It's Disneyland. Like Vince McMahon, the one thing he's done his whole entire career is evolve and adapt. You know, he took out the territories, changed the business, became a one company thing, changed the business. WCW came in, changed the business. He went right in, a competition, changed the business. And from there, he has kept adapting. We're going to do this new, Ruthless Aggression era, the John Cena era, the PG era, changing from WWF to WWE. He did that for money. People thought he was stupid. He thought he was crazy.
No.
Back then.
I don't know if he did it for money to some degree.
Well, when WWF sued, the World Wildlife Foundation sued for the name,
Yeah.
he was like, fine, I want to change the name anyway to entertainment, because he's like, we're not wrestling, we're entertainment.
That is true.
Right?
That is true. But they negotiated that they don't have to blur it out.
Right, exactly.
With the old content, which made 100% sense. And the World Wildlife Foundation, I think they were going to lose that battle.
Yeah, probably.
Which wasn't the move. And if anything, what they should have done is that they should have figured out a way how to spin it for themselves, and that would have been really smart. They could have raised $100 million easy off of that entire name spin-off.
Like, is Vince out of touch with wrestling and what's over? I put that in quotes for all the people listening on audio. Yeah, probably. In fact, most definitely. But when it comes to making money and running a business, he is right there.
I'm going to ask you a good question. What is AEW? Because you know what WWE is.
AEW is wrestling.
See, AEW is a wrestling company.
Wrestling.
Because this is how I view WWE. WWE has the one thing AEW doesn't have. WWE has three things AEW doesn't have, I should say. The three things is having a really big library.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of a huge merchandising. Mm-hmm. WWE is one of the most licensed and merchandised companies in the world. And also, WWE, while the Khans are richer than the McMahons, I don't think the Khans have as much money and disposable income to put into AEW as Vince and WWE does, where WWE has a big bank account.
Vince McMahon has made three, count them, 1, 2, 3, $1 billion deals in the past 5 years. 3. Fox, Peacock, and Saudi Arabia. 3. What? You gonna call him out of touch? No, he doesn't give a fuck about your stupid wrestling. Like AEW is a better product. I'll say that. AEW is phenomenal. It's very entertaining. I love it, but it's because it's wrestling. But
also AEW is in its infancy.
Yeah.
What happens in corporations is that when Apple first came out, and the reason why I bring this up, they had a lot of innovation and they had a lot of growth because they didn't have a corporate structure. WWE is a corporate monstrosity. It is corporation to the T. AEW is not corporation to the T. There's red tape, but there's not as much of it. So what winds up happening, and in 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, AEW's, if they survive that long, and that's a really good question because, markets are changing, entertainment is changing, and it gets complicated, is that in 5 years from now, AEW is going to be in a very similar position where they are going to have corporate structures in place. Look, they have another show now on Friday night. Yeah. And guess what? When you start building out your developmental territory, when you start building out certain things, great, you have corporate structures in place. The creativity gets challenged and gets messed up when you have corporate structures. That doesn't mean the creativity on your deals gets messed up and signing big deals. That's not what creativity is. But that's why WWE has some weird stories. AEW has phenomenal stories because they're in their corporate innovation mode and their honeymoon mode. Mm-hmm. Come 5 years from now, they're going to be in a similar place where WWE is.
Yeah, when they went out of dream matches. Let's not forget, tomorrow is the first day of Q4 in 2021. AEW's been around for almost 2.5 years, 2 years and changed. And
almost 3.
Almost 3. They have not turned a profit. Which isn't unheard of, right? New companies typically take 3 to 5 years to turn a profit. So it's not unheard of. But keep that in perspective. Like, they're just blowing money to make a great product. They will turn a profit eventually. But WWE, all they do is make money. So Vince McMahon's not out of touch. He's just a step ahead. because he sees the writing on the wall. He's just like, I'm just gonna make as much money as I can because he's really, really good at it. He's always been really, really good at it. Yeah, the wrestling suffers, but like you said, it's not a wrestling show. It's Disneyland.
Okay, who sold the most merch at WrestleMania?
Oh, this year?
Yeah, this year. Who sold the most merch?
Oh, that's a great question. Probably Roman.
Nope.
Was it the Fiend?
Bad Bunny.
Oh, fuck, you're right. It was. And honestly, Bad Bunny did a incredible. I forgot he was on the card, not gonna lie, but he did an amazing job. I'm ashamed of myself for not. Like, honestly, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was. No idea who he was.
No, either. It's great.
I had no idea who he was
either.
Honestly, I listened to a lot of Bad Bunny because I love that. I love Latin music. I love that Latin pop music and Spanish songs and salsa music. Like, so I became a big fan of Bad Bunny.
I thought it was the stupidest idea when I saw it, and I'm like, oh man, he could do some great shit in the ring. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I was like, I was just like, I wasn't a huge fan because I was like, okay, who is this small little guy with silly bunny ears for hair? But then I was just like, okay, Will, it's a business. See how much money they brought in. Kids adore this guy internationally. This guy is a megastar, like the highest earning artist today. So
it was better than SummerSlam because Cardi B was supposed to be at SummerSlam where they were advertising, and then she didn't show the fuck up.
She got
I'm like, what the hell?
She got pregnant. That's why.
But I mean, WWE must have been furious. And also, I didn't think Cardi B was the right move for SummerSlam.
I agree. I'd fuck Cardi B.
I think there's better people that could have been put into that, and I think it would have been way smarter. I think they should have brought The Rock back.
Well, he'll be back next year because he'll be back at Survivor Series. It's 25 years of The Rock. And
but my point is that, I think there could have been better positions on that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I digress. My point is that, Bad Bunny brought in a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, my sister and her husband never watched WrestleMania, and Bad Bunny was on that card, and they watched. So they're not wrestling fans. They're like, oh man, we love The Miz. We love John Morrison, Bad Bunny, and Damian Priest. It was great. But you know who bought a lot of that merch? Not wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny made a fucking killing. He probably made more money from the merch than what WWE paid him. In fact, he might have done it for free because he might have pulled the weekend move on it, saying the publicity here is worth way more than anything else.
Yeah, after his match on WrestleMania, they had, oh yeah, by the way, here's his tour. Here's his tour dates and locations, tickets available.
I mean, the weekend at the Super Bowl paid another $7 million. Everybody knows who the weekend is in America now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. I didn't know who the weekend was. I didn't really care who the weekend was, but I'm like, I'm going to go check out what his music is.
I wish I didn't know who the weekend was. Not a huge fan.
But my
point is exposure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, WWE. That's why Vince McMahon's not out of touch. He's 3 steps ahead. So I'm very glad we see eye to eye on that. Because I'm very glad you're not a wrestling mark, or you might be a mark, but you're not the bad kind of mark.
No, I didn't watch Extreme Rules, but I had a good reason. I was behind in writing interviews, and I just couldn't do it.
Don't watch it. It's terrible.
No, I'm not gonna go watch it now. I mean, I don't know what the next one is. Night of Champions or Survivor Series.
Next one is Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, October 21st.
Well, maybe I'll watch it if I'm not working.
It's a Thursday. I believe it's the 21st. It's a Thursday. I check my calendar.
October. But my point is that sometimes you miss wrestling.
Yeah,
but Extreme Rules, from my understanding, was a rough pay-per-view. But I don't really care because, again, that company is making me money and they pay my dividend every single quarter. So I don't really care.
Smart investment. I'm very bullish on WWE as a company. I want to
buy more.
Let's move to comics.